on here. Oh, my cat was trying to be funny here. But I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Let's see, where are we on? Trying to see where. He's Rivendell. We've been through the troll shaws. So they should be in Riven. Well, they already what? They should be around here. So let's see. Well, everyone should have their Gandalf PSs on because everything went kind of. Let's see. Well, we're in chapter 1 of many meetings within the two towers. The second book within the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. So we're going to go ahead and start where we had, I'm going to, where the third paragraph. Let's see. Let's see if I can time it. Oh, it should be. No one moves it, but let's see. I will start on the third paragraph going down. This is, yes, you saw him for a moment, as he is upon the other side, one of the mighty of the firstborn. He is an elf lord of a house of princes. Indeed, there is a power in Rivendell to withstand the might of Mordor for a while, and elsewhere other powers still dwell. There is power too, of another kind in the Shire. But all such places will soon become islands under siege, if things go on as they are going. The Dark Lord is putting forth all his strength. Still, he said, standing. Daddy, wait. No. Get your booty over there. Sorry. Still, he said, standing suddenly up and sticking out his chin, while his beard went stiff and straight like bristling wire. We must keep up our courage. You will soon be well. If I do not talk you to death, you are in Rivendell. And you need not worry about anything for the present. Right here, Rivendell's right here. I haven't any courage to keep up, said Frodo. But I am not worried at the moment. Just give me news of my friends and tell me the end of the affair at the ford, as I keep on asking, and I shall be content for the present. After that, I shall have another sleep, I think. But I shan't be able to close my eyes until you have finished the story for me. Gandalf moved his chair to the bedside and took a good look at Frodo. The color had come back to his face, and his eyes were clear and fully awake, aware. Yeah, fully awake and aware. And he was smiling, and there seemed to be little wrong with him. But to the wizard's eye, there was a faint change, just a hint, as it were, of transparency about him, and especially about the left that lay outside upon the coverlet. Still, that must be expected, said Gandalf to himself. He is not half through yet. And to what he will come in the end, not even Elrond can foretell. Not to evil, I think. He may become like a glass filled with a clear light for eyes to see that can. You look splendid, he said aloud. I will risk a brief tale without consulting Elrond, but quite brief, mind you, and then you must sleep again. This is what happened, as far as I can gather. The riders made straight for you as soon as you fled. They did not need the guidance of their horses any longer. You had become visible to them. Being already on the threshold of their world, and also the ring drew them. Your friends sprang aside off the road, or they would have been ridden down. They knew that nothing could save you. If the white horse could not, the riders were too swift to overtake and too many to oppose. On foot, even Glorfindel and Aragorn together could not withstand all the nine at once. When the ringwraith swept by, your friends ran up behind. Close to the ford, there is a small hollow beside the road, masked by a few stunted trees. There they hastily kindled fire, for Glorfindel knew that a flood would come down if the riders tried to cross, and that he would have to deal with any that were left on the side of the river. The moment the flood appeared, he rushed out, followed by Aragorn and the others with flaming brands. He caught between fire and water, and seeing the elf lord revealed in his wrath, they were dismayed, and their horses were stricken with madness. 3 were carried away by the first assault of the flood. The others were now hurled into the water by their horses and overwhelmed. And is that the end of the Black Riders? Asked Frodo. No, said Gandalf. Their horses must have perished, and without them they are crippled. But the ringwraiths themselves cannot be so easily destroyed. However, there is nothing more to fear from them at present. Your friends crossed after the flood had passed, and they found you lying on your face at the top of the bank with a broken sword under you. The horse was standing guard beside you. You were pale and cold, and they feared that you were dead, or worse. Elrod's folk met them, carrying you slowly towards Rivendell. Who made the flood? Asked Frodo. Elrond commanded it, answered Gandalf. The river of this valley is under his power, and it will rise in anger when he has great need to bar the ford. As soon as the captain of the ring rafts rode into the water, the flood was released. If I may say so, I added a few touches of my own. You may not have noticed, but some of the waves took the form of great white horses with shining white riders, and there were many rolling and grinding boulders. For a moment, I was afraid that we had let loose too fierce a wrath, and the flood would get out of hand and wash you all away. There is great vigor in the waters. That come down from the snows of the misty mountains. Yes, it all comes back to me now, said Frodo. The tremendous roaring. I thought I was drowning, with my friends and enemies and all. But now we are safe. Gandalf looked quietly at Frodo, but he had shut his eyes. Yes, you are all safe for the present. Soon there will be feasting and merrymaking to celebrate the victory at the fort of Bruin. And you will all be there in places of honor. Splendid, said Frodo. It is wonderful that Elrond and Glorfindel and such great lords, not to mention Strider, should take so much trouble and show me so much kindness. Well, there are many reasons why they should, said Gandalf, smiling. I am one good reason. The ring is another. You are the ring bearer, and you are the heir of Bilbo, the ring finder. Dear Bilbo, said Frodo sleepily, I wonder where he is. I wish he was here and I could hear all about it. It would have made him laugh. The cow jumped over the moon, and the poor old troll, with that he fell fast asleep. Frodo was now safe in the last homely house east of the sea. That house was, as Bilbo had reported, a perfect house. Whether you like food, yes, yeah, whether you like food or sleep or storytelling or singing or just sitting and thinking best, or a pleasant mixture of them all. Merely to be there was a cure for weariness, fear, and sadness. As the evening drew on, Frodo woke up again and he found that he no longer felt in need of rest or sleep, but had a mind for food and drink, and probably for singing and storytelling afterwards. He got out of bed and discovered that his arm was already nearly as useful again as it ever had been. He found that if he found laid ready, clean garments of green cloth that fitted him excellently. Looking in a mirror, he was startled to see a much thinner reflection of himself than he remembered. It looked remarkably like the young nephew of Bilbo, who used to go tramping with his uncle in the Shire, but the eyes looked out at him thoughtfully. Yes, you have seen a thing or two since you last peeped out of the looking glass, he said to his reflection. But now, for a merry meeting. He stretched out his arms and whistled a tune. At that moment, there was a knock on the door, and Sam came in. He ran to Frodo and took his left hand, awkwardly and shyly. He stroked it gently, and then he blushed and turned hastily away. Hello, Sam, said Frodo. It's warm, said Sam, meaning your hand, Mr. Frodo. It has felt so cold through the long nights. But glory and trumpets, he cried, turning around again with shining eyes and prancing on the floor. It's fine to see you up on yourself again, sir. Gandalf asked me to come and see if you were ready to come down, and thought he was joking. I am ready, said Frodo. Let's go and look for the rest of the party. I can take you to them, sir, said Sam. It's a big house, this, and very peculiar. Always a bit more to discover, and no knowing what you'll find round a corner. And elves, sir. Elves here and elves there. Some like kings, terrible and splendid, and some as merry as children, and the music and the singing. Not that I've had time to or the heart for much listening since we got here, but I am getting to know some of the ways of the place. I know what you have been doing, Sam, said Frodo, taking his arm, but you shall be merry tonight and listen to your heart's content. Come on, guide me around the corners. Sam had led him along several passages and down many steps and out into a high garden above the steep bank of the river. He found his friends sitting in a porch on the side of the house looking east. Shadows had fallen in the valley below, but there was still a light on the faces of the mountains far above. The air was warm. The sound of running and falling water was loud, and the evening was filled with a faint scent of trees and flowers, as if summer still lingered in Elrod Gardens. Hooray! Cried Pippin, springing up. Here is our noble cousin. Make way for Frodo, Lord of the Ring. Hush, said Gandalf from the shadows at the back of the porch. Evil things do not come into this valley, but all the same, we should not name them. The Lord of the Ring is not Frodo, but the master of the Dark Tower of Mordor, whose power is again stretching out over the world. We are sitting in a fortress. Outside, it is getting dark. Gandalf has been saying many cheerful things like that, said Pippin. He thinks I need keeping in order. But it seems impossible somehow to feel gloomy or depressed in this place. I feel I could sing. If I knew the right song for the occasion. I feel like singing myself, laughed Frodo, though at the moment I feel more like eating and drinking. That will soon be cured, said Pippin. You have shown your usual cunning in getting up just in time for a meal. More than a meal, a feast, said Merry. As soon as Gandalf reported that you were recovered, the preparations began. He had hardly finished speaking when they were summoned to the hall by the ringing of many bells. The hall of Elrod's house was filled with folk. Elves for the most part, though there were a few guests of other sorts. Elrond, as his custom, sat in a great chair at the end of the long table upon the dais, and sat next to him. On the one side sat Glorfindel, and on the other side sat Gandalf. Frodo looked at him and wondered, for he had never before seen Elrond, of whom so many tales spoke. And as he sat upon his right hand and his left, Glorfindel and even Gandalf, whom he thought he knew so well, were revealed as lords of dignity and power. Gandalf was shorter in stature than the other two, but his long white hair, his sweeping silver beard, and his broad shoulders made him look like some wise king of ancient legend. In his aged face, under great snowy brows, his dark eyes were set like coals that could leap suddenly into fire. Glorfindel was tall and straight. His hair was of shining gold. His face, fair and young and fearless and full of joy. His eyes were bright and keen, and his voice was mus- like music. On his brow sat wisdom, and in his hand was strength. The face of Elrond was ageless, neither old nor young, though in it was written the memory of many things, both glad and sorrowful. His hair was dark in the shadows of twilight, and upon it was set a circlet of silver. His eyes were gray as a clear evening, and in them was a light like the light of stars. Venerable, he seemed as a king crowned with many winters, and yet held as a tried warrior in the fullness of his strength. He was the Lord of Rivendell, and mighty among both elves and men. In the middle of the table, against the woven cloths upon the wall, there was a chair upon a canopy, and there sat a lady fair to look upon, and so like was she in form of womanhood to Elrond that Frodo guessed that she was one of his close kinmen. Young she was, and yet not so. The braids of her dark hair were touched by no frost. Her white arms and clear face were flawless and smooth, and the light of stars was in her bright eyes, gray as a cloudless night, yet queenly she looked, and thought and knowledge were in her glance, as of one who has known many things that the years bring. Above her brow, her head was covered with a cap of silver lace, netted with small gems, glittering white, but her soft gray raiment had no ornament save a girdle of leaves wrought in silver. So it was that Frodo saw whom few mortals had yet seen, Arwen, daughter of Elrond, in whom it was said that the likeness of Luthien had come on earth again, and she called Undamel, for she was the even star of her people. Long she had been in the land of her mother's kin, alluring beyond the mountains, and was but lately returned to Rivendell, to her father's house. But her brothers, Eodon and Elorhir, were out upon Erod tree, for they rode often far afield with the rangers of the north, forgetting never their mother's torment in the dens of the orcs. In the den of the orcs. No, it's not there yet. Okay, so such loveliness in living thing Frodo had never seen before nor imagined in his mind, and he was both surprised and abashed to find that he had a seat at Elrod's table among all these folks so high and fair, though he had a suitable chair and was raised upon several cushions. He felt very small and rather out of place, but that feeling quickly passed. The feast was merry, and the food all that his hunger could desire. It was some time before he looked about him again or even turned to his neighbors. He looked first for his friends. Sam had begged to be allowed to wait on his master, but had been told for that this time he was a guest of honor. Frodo could see him now, sitting with Pippin and Merry at the upper end of one of the side tables close to the day, and he could not. Well, yeah, he could see no sign of Strider. Next to Frodo on his right sat a dwarf of important appearance, richly dressed, his beard very long and forked. He was white, nearly as white as the snow white cloth of his garments. He wore a silver belt, and round his neck hung a chain of silver and diamonds. Frodo stopped eating to look at him. Welcome and all well met, said the dwarf, turning towards him. And then he actually rose from his seat and bowed. Going at your service, he said, and bowed still lower. Frodo Baggins at your service and your family, said Frodo correctly, rising in surprise and scattering his cushions. Am I right in guessing that you are the going one of the 12 companions of the great Thorin Oakenshield? Quite right, answered the dwarf, gathering up the cushions and courteously assisting Frodo back to his seat. And I do not ask, for I have already been told that you are the kinsman and adopted heir of our friend Bilbo the Renowned. Allow me to congratulate on your recovery. Mm. No. Thank you very much, said Frodo. You have had some very strange adventures, I hear say, Owen. Well, I wondered greatly what brings four hobbits on so long a journey. Nothing like it has happened since Bilbo came with us. But perhaps I should not inquire too closely, since Elrond and Gandalf do not seem disposed to talk of this. I think we will not speak of it, at least not yet, said Frodo politely. He guessed that even in Elrond's uh, house, the matter of the ring was not one for casual talk. In any case, he wished to forget his troubles for a time, but I am equally curious, he added, to learn what brings so important a dwarf so far from the lonely mountain. You can figure out where the lonely mountain is. Let's see. We have to bring up the map. Long looked at him. If you have not heard, I think we will not speak yet of that either. Master Elrond will summon us all year long, I believe, and then we shall all hear many things. But there is much else that may be told. Throughout the rest of the meal, they talked together, but Frodo listened more than he spoke. For the news of the Shire, apart from the ring, seemed small and far away and unimportant. While Rowan had much to tell of events in the northern regions of Walderfield land, Frodo learned that Grimroy, the old son of war, was now the lord of many sturdy men. And to the land between the mountains and Mirkwood, neither orc nor wolf dared to go. Indeed, said Rowan, if it were not for the warnings, the passage from Dale to Rivendell would long ago have become impossible. They are valiant men and keep open the high pass and the ford of Carrock, but their toes are high, he added with a shake of his head. And like Warren, they are not over fond of dwarves. Still, they are trusty, and that is much in these days. Nowhere are there any men so friendly to us as the men of Dale. They are good folk, the Bardings. The grandson of Bard the Bowman rules them. Bran, son of Vane, son of Bard. He is a strong king, and his realm now reaches far south and east of Esgoroth. And what of your own people? Asked Frodo. There is much to tell, good and bad, said Gloom. Yet it is mostly good. We have so far been fortunate, though we do not escape the shadow of these times. If you really wish to hear of us, I will tell you tidings gladly, but stop me when are weary. Dwarves, tongues run on when speaking of their handiwork. they say. And with that, Lauren embarked on a long account of the doings of Dwarf Kingdom. He was delighted to have found so polite a listener. For Frodo showed no sign of weariness and made no attempt to change the subject, though actually seemed rather lost among the strange names of people and places that he never heard of before. He was interested, however, to hear that Don was still king under the, the mountain and was now old, having passed his 250th year, venerable and fabulously rich. Of the 10 companions who had survived the battle of 5 armies, seven were still with him. Dwalin, Goin, Dory, Nori, Bafer, Wolfer, and Bomber. Bomber was now so fat that he could not move himself from his couch to his chair at table, and took it 6 young dwarfs to lift him. And what has become of Balin and Ori and Owen? Asked Frodo. A shadow passed over Owen's face. We do not know, he answered. It is largely on account of Balin that I have come to ask the advice of those that dwell in Rivendell. But tonight let us speak of merrier things. Roland began then to talk of the works of his people, telling Frodo about their great labors in Dale and under the mountain. We have done well, he said, but in metalwork we cannot rival our fathers, many whose secrets are lost. We make good armor and keen swords, but we cannot again make mail or blade to match those that were made before the dragon came. Only in mining and building have we surpassed the old days. You should see the waterways of Dale, Frodo, and the mountains, and the pools. You should see the stone paved roads of many colors, and the halls and the cavernous streets under the earth, which arches carved like trees, and the terraces and the towers upon the mountain sides. And then you would see that we have not been idle. I will come and see them if ever I can, said Frodo. How surprised Bilbo would have been to see all the changes and desolation of Smog. Well, Rowan looked at Frodo and smiled. You were very fond of Bilbo, were you not? He asked. Yes, answered Frodo. I would rather see him than all the towers and palaces in the world. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. And on page 230, I'm going to start up again. And, okay, so they are now at where? I'm trying to use my Gandalf PS. Let's see. Right here at Rivendell. Here at Rivendell. Right here. Right here at Rivendell. And over here are the Misty Mountains. And let's see, this is the ford right here. That's the ford that they were talking about right here. And they've already been through the Trollshaws. That's where they those little caverns that they got caught up in. And let's see, where was he? So Let's see. So that's where we are now. That's where, you know, that's where they're hanging out now. They're with the elves, and so we're gonna see because they're gonna next time there's a read. There's gonna be a lot more singing. So be forewarned. There's gonna be a lot more singing up in here. And let's see. And we're only what? One, two, three, four. 4 pages away. 4 pages away. Well, let's see. Well, as much as I love to press on, I, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. And I know some of some of you hobbits need to go to the back to the shire of a public school system or wherever you're going uh, to go and do learning. So I realize people have to go to bed early, and like myself, I have to go to bed early too. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it off for now, and we'll go ahead and see how we're feeling tomorrow, and we'll continue on, and we'll finish off the chapter 1, many meetings. And so we're gonna go ahead and I don't know about you, so I know where they're at right now. So you may go ahead and discuss where they're going to head toward because there's a mention of a plan where they're going to be heading toward. So if you have any idea, and if you listen, but you may go ahead and put your Gandalf PSs on. And if you had noticed the postings of any of the maps that were posted from the book, uh, go ahead and look at those and decide where are they going to go. Where are they going to go from where they're at? How far away was the king of dwarves? How far away were going? Where did he come from? Where how far away for him to get to Rivendell? Well, I'll go ahead and let everyone discuss that, and we'll see what happens next time. Good night. Safe travels, hobbits.